It was 4:30 a.m. in a remote listening post in Italy. The operators were tracking the secret Soviet space program when suddenly, a voice crackled through the static. It was a man, speaking in Russian, his words laced with desperation. "I'm going through the belts. The cabin is filling with smoke. I'm going to die." Then, silence. The date, November 1961. The problem, the Soviet Union had officially launched only one man into space by then, Yuri Gagarin. But this voice belonged to someone else. Someone who was never on any official record. This is the story of the Lost Cosmonaut, a conspiracy that has haunted space agencies for decades. Who was this man? And why was his existence erased? The answer, as you'll see, is more terrifying than you can imagine. In the years that followed, amateur radio operators and intelligence agencies across the globe picked up similar transmissions. The most famous was recorded by the Giudica-Cordiglia brothers, two Italian twins who had built their own radio station to eavesdrop on the space race. On May 23, 1961, they intercepted a frantic exchange, a cosmonaut begging for help, then a voice from ground control saying, "You know we're not ready for you to come back. We're not ready for the publicity." Then, a sickening crunch. The brothers swore it was real. Soviet officials dismissed it as a hoax. But the brothers had evidence, signals that overlapped with known satellite passes, and a transmission pattern that matched Soviet technology. They gave the cosmonaut a name, Vladimir Ilyushin, a famous test pilot who had allegedly disappeared in a car accident. Officially, he had died in a crash. But some say he was actually launched into space, injured and secret, and left to die when re-entry failed. Now, decades later, new evidence has emerged. Declassified documents, recovered audio, and testimony from former Soviet engineers suggest that the lost cosmonaut was real. They claim that at least 5 cosmonauts died before Gagarin's flight, their missions erased from history. Why? Because the Soviet Union was desperate to beat the United States, and they were willing to sacrifice human lives to do it. But here's the chilling part, some of those transmissions were never intended for us. They were meant for the cosmonauts themselves, as a way to communicate with them during their final moments. And in one of those transmissions, a cosmonaut can be heard saying something that defies explanation, "I see, they are here. They are with me." Then, the signal went dead. The Lost Cosmonaut is not just a story about a forgotten hero. It's a story about the lies we tell to achieve greatness, and the voices we silence to keep them. And as for that last transmission, no one has ever been able to explain what he saw. Some say it was a hallucination caused by oxygen deprivation. Others say it was something far more real. Something that has been waiting for us in the void, watching as we stumble into the stars. The truth, it seems, is not out there. It's buried in the static, waiting for someone to listen.